I'm Jackie, and welcome back to my channel, My Magical Home, where I like to share all kinds of creative homemaking ideas with you. Today, though, is one of my all-time favorite kind of things to do with you guys because it is movie night. So, I am super into this show called Outlander. If you are not familiar with it, it is about a 1940s combat nurse who falls back in time into the 1943 Jacobite Rebellion. But that's where it started, and it's 7 seasons later, so we're all the way over in North Carolina for the beginning of the American Revolution. And they are doing such a good job with the filming. Every episode so far has just been spot on. I'm loving it. And I thought, what better to do than to celebrate with a movie night? So we will be making a dinner idea as well as a DIY. Stay tuned. So let's talk about tonight's menu, but I'm going to give you a little bit of a spoiler warning. So in the last season, I was kind of rewatching, trying to get an idea of what exactly I wanted to do for this movie night. And in the last episode, there's a moment where Jamie and Claire are talking, and Claire tells him about the American tradition of a last meal. So he's looking at her, he's like, you can have anything you want, and asks her what she would wish for if she was getting her own last meal at that moment. And she mentioned a cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke from Carvey's, which is a diner that she used to go with her daughter, Brianna. So when I started thinking about this, I realized that this is not the first time that they brought up this cheeseburger and fries. In season 4, episode 10, I believe that's actually the finale as well, Brianna and Claire are talking about the different things that they miss from the past and what they would have if they could have it there at that second. And again, cheeseburger and fries with a Coke from Carvey's comes up. So that's exactly what we're going to be making. Now I know everybody has their perfect cheeseburger, but I'm telling you, give this one a try because it is really amazing and I hope that you'll enjoy. We're also going to be making our French fries from scratch, and don't forget that there's a DIY coming up next. Okay, so we are going to start out by prepping some ice water, and that is where we're going to be putting our French fries. So we're going to cut them up, put them in the water in the refrigerator for 20 minutes, and this is supposed to help remove some of the starches out of the potatoes, which is supposed to lead to a crunchier French fry. We're also going to be trying the method of frying them twice, and I can tell you that through doing both of these methods, I felt like they were some of the best fries that I've ever made at home. So let's go ahead and get these in the fridge because it is time to start with our hamburgers. Before we go any further, I want you to cook up about 2 pieces of bacon per burger, and go ahead and set your crunchy bacon aside and leave that bacon grease because we're coming back to it. So these are all the various ingredients that we're going to be putting into our burger today. As you can tell, I like my cheeseburgers to have lots of flavor, but I have about 1.5 pounds of ground beef that we are going to be using, but you can use whatever meat of your choice. I add 1 teaspoon of black pepper, 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and then I do about 1/4 cup of crispy onions and 1/4 cup of crispy jalapenos, like the kind that you'd buy for the top of your salad. And I go ahead and chop those up with my knife and add them to the mix as well. And in addition to that, I like to add 2 tablespoons of green chili. Now these are the Anaheim green chilies, and I know you're looking at this and you're probably thinking jalapeno, green chili, this is going to be a spicy burger, but I can tell you that it really wasn't. Actually, the green chili just kind of helps to, it almost blends all the flavors together in a perfect way. That's just the gift of an Anaheim green chili. But if you feel like that's too much, just feel free to take it down to a tablespoon or a teaspoon of green chili, whatever you're comfortable with. Now, once I've got all of this mixed together, it is time to form it into 3 balls because I'm going to be making 3 burgers out of this. And you're just going to flatten your burgers in between 2 pieces of parchment until you get your desired shape and thickness that you're looking for. Now, a trick that I like to do to make sure that my burger is the right size is I will take my bun over and I just kind of compare the size of the bun. I like to have my burger itself be about 1/4 inch thicker than what the bun is because your burger is going to shrink, and by doing this you're going to make sure that you have a burger throughout your entire bun instead of having maybe a little bit, I don't know, I've seen where sometimes people get a little bit too small for the bun. So, and that's not ever what you want. You want to have the entire effect, right? So you are going to go ahead and take this over to your leftover bacon grease and you are going to cook these babies up. So I find it is always best to only flip your burger 1 time. I don't know why, but there you have my tip. And after this is about almost all the way done. I'd say maybe like 2-3 minutes left on the clock. I want you to go ahead and add your crispy bacon and some cheese over top. And that cheese is going to act like a concrete holding all of that delicious burger in together. Now, while our burger is cooking, it is time to start cooking our fries. First thing, you want to dry them off between a couple paper towels to ensure that they don't have any water left on them before you throw them in the grease. Then you're going to cook them for 3 to 4 minutes. Take them out, let them dry, and cook them again until they're golden. And you guys, they're going to be bomb. Oh, and don't forget to season them after you take them out of the grease. I like to toast my buns. I'm using the Everything Bagel seed buns, and they are so good. And I also like to put just a little bit of butter and garlic salt. This isn't for a diet menu. This is for if you want like the best burger, this is how you're gonna get it. But I hope you guys like this recipe. I'd love to hear what you guys think. Don't forget to say hi down below. I am so excited for our cheeseburger and fries, but I feel like we're missing something. So Claire said her last meal should be a cheeseburger, fries, and a Coke from Carby's. And I found these absolutely adorable little glass bottled Cokes to go along with my meal. And you guys, I am so excited for movie night. I cannot wait to start the latest episode. Which also brings me to question. I want to know, how are you feeling about the latest episodes? The first 2, you guys, through the roof. I was crying and clapping at the same time. My husband was giggling at me because I was just so into it. They did such an amazing job. The cast just over the moon. But let's go ahead and give this cheeseburger a try before we start our DIY. Perfect. Claire was right. The Coke makes it just all come together. So when it comes to the fries, I just want to say, I think doing the ice water before and the second time of frying really helped to make them have that crisp, crunchy texture that you would find at your local diner, making them perfect. Now, I did actually use some gold potatoes as well as some russet, and as much as I love gold potatoes for almost everything, it's russet all the way. Their texture is better, you get more fry out of it, and they don't get quite as dark in that second fry because the gold ones, yes, they did still taste just as good and they were just as crunchy, but they didn't have the sustained golden color that we think of from freshly made fries. So go with russet and you guys are not going to be disappointed. If you guys decide to try out my burger idea, I know that everyone has their own favorite. And fries, I would love to hear your opinion down below. Stay tuned because we're about to make our own Craigh Na Dun house plan. Okay guys, it is time to start our DIY. We're going to be making our very own Craigh Na Dun. But to do this, I kind of had to get a little bit creative because there actually is no Craigh Na Dun. When Diana Gabaldon came up with the idea for the first Outlander, she hadn't been to Scotland yet, so she made one up. And so I kind of had to make up how it looks. Obviously, they do have some that are on the set of Outlander, but you don't actually get like a good picture where you can see all the stones. So you can see a couple of them and kind of get an idea. But I thought that it would be really fun to just bring a little bit of that special magic into my own home. So we're going to be using this air dry clay, and we're also going to be using some Irish moss, as well as a couple other little tools to help us along the way. I hope that you really enjoy this DIY. I do want to say, if you want to level it up, I personally would have loved to have had a bonsai tree. You know, just over on the side, because the set of Outlander does have trees around it. But they didn't have any available in my area. But that's okay, because I would debate that having trees around a standing circle would kind of defeat the purpose, as a lot of people believe that they were there to keep track of time or astrological calendars and things of that nature. Some people also think they were for rituals. Did you know in the 17th century there are these stones called, and I'm going to say this wrong, the Clannish standing stones that are on the Isle of Lewis? Calnish standing stones? I'm not quite sure. And they are just absolutely beautiful to look at in pictures. I would love to see them someday, but in the 17th century, people used to believe that they were petrified giants. Isn't that such a fun way for the standing stones to get there? I think that that just adds so much more fun than, I need to know what time it is. We should probably build a circle to keep track. Anyways though, enough babbling. Let's get started. Because I was trying to draw something that I couldn't just see in front of me and I didn't have all the viewpoints I wanted, I decided that I wanted to get into my notebook and kind of draw the different stone shapes and see how they would be shaded and get some ideas. That way I could go forward with being a little bit less overwhelmed. I feel like this is really helpful in the creative process when you don't really know where to start. We are going to start out with step 1, which is some 22 gauge wire, and I'm going to be basically using this to make little supports for my different stone. I'm hoping to have the wire go up through at least 3/4 of each stone, as well as having some at least maybe an inch, inch and a half out the bottom on each side so that I can just push it right into the plant and it'll stay exactly how I want it. Once I had all of my wire cut and molded, it was time to break out the clay. And basically you can see I'm just kind of like working the wire itself into the clay because that's going to be the thing that holds it up and gives it its support. And then I'm just kind of manipulating it until I feel like it looks like a rock. I did feel having the drawings next to me really helped out that way I didn't feel stuck on how to design my rock. I already had ideas. And then once I felt like I had a good shape, I put it on my cereal box here, putting the wire inside the box, added a little extra so that it would have support, and then came through and added some cracks for some realism. This is our first stone all finished. It's kind of hard to see with the white clay, but I decided to do the rest off camera so it wasn't too repetitious. This is them all dried up because it is time for step 2. Now, take note of this clay, guys, because it is amazing. It is linked down below, the best clay I have ever used in my life. It does exactly what you're wanting, and you are able to get it flower petal thin. And it's kind of flexible afterwards, so it's not so breakable, I felt like. And I basically just did a thin piece, as thin as I could, tore it up into pieces, and I'm going to be using this to make moss on my different stones. And to adhere it, I did take a wet paintbrush and just kind of painted over the different areas that I wanted to add the moss, set it on top, and it stayed. It was so simple and it worked so easy. After that, you can kind of see here, I came in with a little tool and kind of ruffled it up and messed up all the texture on this clay because I wanted it to look more moss-like. I wanted that texture to really shine through. And you can't see it so much here when we're dealing with the white clay, but once we add that paint, it is just going to make all the difference. Completed all of the moss for this project, it's time to talk flowers, because if you have read the book or you watch the show, you know that it is the blue flowers that were climbing up the middle stone that called Claire back to go see what they were. So they're very important. I don't know that I did the correct shape. I assume they were forget-me-nots. The best flowers you guys are going to get out of me is kind of like a rose. These were really small and I did my best. But the best part was I just added a little bit of water, kind of adhered it with my little stick, and they stayed. I couldn't believe it, guys. It was so easy. Like, I couldn't believe that they just stuck to the clay that easy. Like, who would have guessed? So once these are all done, I'm going to let everything dry and we will be back to add the paint. Did add a gray base on the back of where I wanted the stones to be, and then I came through with just a couple different colors of gray from a dark to a light and just kind of kept blending them over and over over top of each other until I felt like they had that granity kind of look. Now once I felt that they were completely like almost exactly how I wanted, I did come in and dry brush the lightest color on there because I felt like it really highlighted some of the cracks and gave a lot of that realistic tone. So after I finished with that, it was time to come in and paint the moss. Now I had two colors I used for this. One was a little sagey and the other was kind of like a muted, like neon-y, kind of like a very bright green. And I basically just came in with the two different colors constantly as I was painting the moss so that they blended together and looked like one. I didn't want any area to just be one solid color because it kind of takes away from the realistic nature of it. I felt like the texture that we added earlier just really made the stones just come to life. Then I came through and added some blue and some white and just kind of colored in all of those little flowers. And yeah, then I was done with this project and it was time to get these babies planted. So here they are, all finished. I can't wait to hear what you guys think in the comments down below. Here are the last things that we are going to be using. We have got our stones, obviously, as well as the plastic whiskey barrel that I picked up from Lowe's, and our 3 Irish moss from the local nursery. So I know my moss looks a little wonky. Don't worry, it is all going to grow together and completely fill this pot. It will probably go over and I will have extra moss for another project eventually. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and put in our stones. I'm so excited. And here's our final product. I can't wait to hear what you guys think. I can tell you that I am so excited about this. It is just the perfect little ode to Diana Gabaldon's work, and I am just thrilled to have it in my home. Alright my friends, this is going to be the end of today's video. I hope that you really enjoyed it. Don't forget to let me know what you think and to say hi in the comments down below. And if you did like it, don't forget to like, comment, and share. See you next time, friends!